In part 6, Bob Chapman will discuss Quantitative Easing 3, also QE3. Koen Deel from Biflatie.nl and Richard de Weber from Goudportal.nl are speaking with international forecaster Bob Chapman about the future of the world economy. Do you maybe have some special opinions or scoops to share with us?
Well, I'm not much for scoops, but I think gold and silver are going higher, considerably higher. I think that they probably will have a QE3 of some kind or another in the United States, and I think other nations will continue to do the same thing, especially if Mr. Trichet and the European Central Bank decide to raise interest rates. If they don't have something to counter level a higher rate, like more money in the economies, the economies are going to collapse. They cannot continue without an infusion of funds and low interest rates. And that's where that's all headed. In the United States, if they don't tell you they're going to have QE3, they'll have it anyway. They'll just lie about it. Governments, generally speaking, never tell the truth. You always start from that premise.
And how long can we go forward in the way we're walking now? By printing money. How long can we continue with this?
Low interest rates?
Well, what happens is, and you know this, inflation continues, and you're seeing that in the European Union currently, and especially in England. It's officially up over 5%.
Yes.
The United States is talking 1.5%. Real inflation is 8%. Where's it going this year in the U.S.? 14%. What's real inflation right now in England? Probably around 12%. What's real inflation in Europe? Probably 6 to 7%. Ask anybody who goes down and shops every day. And that's the effect of QE1, and the money and credit that were injected into the system during that time period, 1.5 to 2 years ago. We have to deal with QE2 and Stimulus 2 in the United States, and Europe has to deal with their problems for the money that they've injected into the system as well. And they have another burden, and that is the 6 countries that are on the edge of bankruptcy in Europe. And the solvent countries like Holland are being asked to carry the burden of the countries that are in trouble. And they okayed about $1 trillion. And at the G20 meeting last week, Mrs. Merkel said, well, we don't want to approve another $1 trillion. And in fact, she said, well, let's cut $300 billion. And I'm sure some of that rhetoric was because the CDU and her constituency voted for the other parties in the Hamburg region. And so she got the message. The German people do not want to dole out any more money. And the reason why is they know, and this is what I wrote about and told people before anybody else did, it's going to take about $4 trillion to clean up that mess. And if they put up $4 trillion, Holland, Austria, Germany, France will all go bankrupt. So what's the sense in that? So they're stuck. There's no way out. They've got to let them default. They've got to let them leave the euro. The euro should be done away with. The country should go back to their own currencies. And that's not as complex as people make it out to be. It's been a failure. And what's the key to the failure? Number one interest rate fits all. When I saw that 12 years ago at the Maastricht Treaty, I knew the game was already over.
For more information about Bob Chapman and the International Forecaster, visit his website, theinternationalforecaster.com.